Hare Krishna. So we are about to complete the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Let me quickly open I think we are going to discuss the 74th verse today. So only 6 more verses to go. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, is everyone able to see my screen now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
All right, let's recite this verse. You can repeat after me. Sanjay Uvacha
Sanjaya Uvacha
Ityaham Vasudevasya
Ityaham
Ityaham
Vasudevasya
Vasudevasya
Parthasya cha Mahatmanah
Parthasya cha
Parthasya cha
Mahatmanaha
Mahatmanaha
Samvadam Imam Ashrausham
Samvadam
Sambhavam
Imam
Imam
Ashrosham
Ashrosham
Adbhutam Romaharshanam.
Adbhutam
Adbhutam
Romaharshanam.
Romaharshanam
Sanjay Uvacha
Sanjay
Sanjaya
Uvacha
Uvacha
Ityaham Vasudevasya
Ityaham
Ityaham
Vasudevasya
Vasudevasya
Parthasya cha Mahatmanah
Parthasya
Parthasya
cha
cha
Mahatmanaha
Mahatmanaha
Samvadam Imam Ashrausham
Samvadam
Sambhavam
Imam
Imam
Ashrosham
Ashrosham
Adbhutam Romaharshanam.
Adbhutam
Adbhutam
Romaharshanam.
Romaharshanam
Sanjay Uvacha
Sanjay
Sanjaya
Uvacha
Uvacha
Ityaham Vasudevasya
Ityaham
Ityaham
Vasudevasya
Vasudevasya
Parthasya cha Mahatmanah
Parthasya cha
Parthasya cha
Mahatmanaha
Mahatmanaha
Samvadam Imam Ashrausham
Samvadam
Sambhadam
Imam
Imam
Ashrosham
Ashrosham
Adbhutam Romaharshanam.
Adbhutam
Adbhutam
Romaharshanam
Romaharshanam.
Anyone else would like to recite?
Tahang Vasudevasya
Ityaham
Ityaham
Vasudevasya
Vasudevasya
Parthasya cha Mahatmanaha
Parthasya
Parthasya
cha
Parthasya
cha
cha
Mahatmanah
Mahatmanaha
Mahatmanaha Sambhadam Imam Shrosham
Samvadam
Sambhadam
Imam
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 Ashrausham
Ashrosham
Ashrosham
Adbhutam Romaharshanam
Adbhutam
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 Romaharshanam.
Romaharshanam
Romaharshanam.
Sanjay Uvacha
Sanjay
Sanjay
Sanjaya
Uvacha
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 Ityaham Vasudevasya
Ityaham
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 Vasudevasya
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 Parthasya cha Mahatmana
Parthasya
Parthasya
cha
Parthasya
cha
cha
Mahatmanah
Mahatmanaha
Mahatmanaha
Samvadam Imam Asrusam
Sambhadam
Samvadam
Samvadam
Imam
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 Ashrausham
Ashrosham
Ashrosham
Adbhutam Romaharshanam
Adbhutam
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 Romaharshanam.
Romaharshanam.
Romaharshanam Sanjaya Uvacha
Sanjay
Sanjay
Sanjaya
Uvacha
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 Ityaham
Ityaham Vasudevasya
Ityaham
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 Vasudevasya
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 Parthasya cha Mahatmanaha
Parthasya cha
Parthasya
Parthasya
cha
cha
Mahatmanah
Mahatmanaha
Mahatmanaha
Sambhadam Imam Ashrosham
Samvadam
Samvadam
Imam
Imam
Sambhadam Imam
Ashrausham
Ashrosham
Ashrosham Adbhutam Romaharshanam
Adbhutam
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 Romaharshanam.
Romaharshanam.
Romaharshanam
Sanjay Uvacha
Sanjay
Sanjaya
Uvacha
Uvacha
Ityaham Vasudevasya
Ityaham
Ityaham
Vasudevasya
Vasudevasya
Parthasya cha Mahatmanaha
Parthasya cha
Parthasya cha
Mahatmanah
Mahatmanaha
Samvadam Imam Ashrosham
Samvadam
Sambhadam
Imam
Imam
Ashrausham
Ashrosham
Adbhutam Romaharshanam.
Adbhutam
Adbhutam
Romaharshanam.
Romaharshanam
Anyone else? Okay, let's recite the synonyms. Sanjay Uvacha.
Sanjay
Sanjaya
Uvacha
Uvacha
Sanjay said.
Sanjaya
Sanjay
said
said
Iti.
Iti
Iti
Thus.
thus
Das
Aham.
Aham
Aham
I.
I
I
Vasudevasya.
Vasudevasya
Vasudevasya
Of Krishna.
of
of
Krishna
Krishna
Parthasya.
Parthasya
Parthyasya
And Arjuna.
and
and
Arjuna
Arjuna
Cha.
cha
Cha
Also.
also
also
Mahatmanah.
Mahatmanaha
Mahatmanaha
Of the great soul.
of
of
the
the
great
great
soul
soul
Samvadam.
Samvadam
Sambhadam
discussion,
discussion,
imam,
imam,
this,
this,
ashrausham,
ashram,
have heard,
have heard,
adbhutam,
adbhutam,
wonderful,
wonderful,
romaharshanam,
romaharshanam,
making the hair stand on end.
making the hair stand on end.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sanjay said, "Thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end." Purport. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra inquired from his secretary Sanjay what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The entire study was related to the heart of Sanjay by the grace of his spiritual master, Vyasa. He thus explained the theme of the battlefield. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity, Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord. If we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjay realized this. And as he began to understand it, he related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. I'll read the translation one more time. Sanjay said, "Thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end." So we are coming towards the end of the Gita. So 18.72 was the last verse that was spoken by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is not going to speak any more verses in the Gita. And 18.73 was the last verse that was spoken by Arjuna, and he's not going to speak any more verses. Then the remaining 5 verses are now going to be spoken by Sanjay itself. So this is the first verse. I mean, not the first, but the first of the concluding verses of the Gita that Sanjay speaks. And we know that overall in the Gita, Krishna speaks 575 verses, Arjuna speaks 83 verses, Sanjay speaks total 41 verses, although everything is spoken by Sanjay in one sense, but Sanjay is kind of relating that what Krishna had said and what Arjuna had said. So in that sense, the direct verses spoken by Sanjay to Dhritarashtra to give the context about the discussion that is happening between Krishna and Arjuna, he speaks 41 verses. And Dhritarashtra, we know, speak only just one verse, which Prabhupada quotes. You know, what happened on the battlefield. That's how Dharmakshetre Kurukshetra Samaveta Yutsav. That's the first verse of the Gita is spoken by Dhritarashtra. Although we can say that these verses are, we say that reading Bhagavad Gita is purifying. It purifies us. But we understand that, okay, Krishna's words are purifying, but what about the verses that are not spoken by Krishna? So do they also purify us? So actually Acharyas explain that everything that is happening in the Gita, it is purifying, because everything is in the context of the supreme discussion that is happening between Krishna and Arjuna. So all verses are equally potent. We should not think that, if Dhritarashtra has spoken that verse, we should not read that or recite that. All the verses can be recited. Now, interestingly, we know that Arjuna, so there are 20 other names that are used for Arjuna in the Gita. And for Krishna, there are 33 other names used, in the Gita. So many names are there. Anyone remembers what was the first name that came for Krishna and Arjuna? The Gita name used for Krishna, and it is not Krishna and Arjuna, it is something else. Anyone remembers?
Rishikesh and Gorakesh?
No.
Vasudeva and Partha.
No, that's not the right answer.
Not
You're
right
not
answer.
doing
Oh,
a
I'm
quiz
sorry.
here. Okay, no problem.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's not. Sorry?
Parantapa for Arjuna.
No, actually, okay, let me give out the answer. So the first reference to Krishna and Arjuna comes in the 14th verse of the Gita. In the first chapter, 14th verse, where it is, it's a very sweet verse. Tataha shveter hayar yuktai mahati shandane sthitau madhavaha pandavaschaiva divyav
okay.
shankho pradadmatau. So Madhav and Pandav. So those are the first names that is used for Krishna and Arjuna. Madhav, we know that in the very first time when the entry happens of Krishna and Arjuna in the Gita, right there actually Sanjay describes that this is Madhav. Madhav means he is the husband of goddess of fortune. So wherever Madhav is, there is going to be victory over there. So right there actually Sanjay had in one sense indicated to Dhritarashtra that, you know, this is Madhav, this is the husband of goddess of fortune. And actually, if you see, the entry happens in a very auspicious way in the Gita. You know, all the warriors are blowing their conches, and then it is described that, you know, Shweter Hayer means white horses. So they are actually situated on the chariot, which is driven by white horses, and Madhava Pandavas Chaiva. So both Madhav and Pandava are there on that chariot, and Divya Shankha. So basically, they are blowing their Divya Shankha, their transcendental conches. And so all the different warriors were blowing their conches at that time, which is an auspicious sign. And at that time, the entry of Krishna and Arjuna is described in the Gita. Now, moving forward, if you remember the flow of the 18th chapter, so because we are discussing the 18th chapter, Krishna had spoken the overall hierarchy, starting with Karma Yoga. Then he had spoken about Jnana in Karma Yoga. So if you remember, he had spoken about the different modes of material nature. Then he spoke about how Karma Yoga, when done with Jnana through the stages of Varnashram, and how it elevates one from Karma through Jnana to Bhakti. So that was the hierarchy that was given. Then he had talked about Bhakti Yoga per se, how Bhakti Yoga itself can elevate a person from the lowest stage to the highest stage. Then after that, he had come back and spoken about the most confidential knowledge. Now, he had said that earlier also in the chapters 9 and 12, and then in 9 and 10 in chapter 12. But he repeats that again here in the 18th chapter. But here he repeats it more emphatically. You know, he puts a much more stronger, emphasis on that, that this is my supreme instruction, Paramam Vachaha. And this is Sarva Guhyatamam. This is the most confidential of all the knowledge that I have spoken so far. So he gives very, very, emphasis over there. And then he speaks out, Sardharman Parit. First he says Man Manabhav Mad Bhakto. And then he says Sardharman Paritejya. So surrender to me through Bhakti Yoga. That was the theme that was there. And after speaking the concluding instructions, which is the Sarvdharman Paritejya, he speaks about the glory of this knowledge. We had discussed about the Phalashruti. So we see that in the Vedic literature, after every important conversation that comes or every important section that comes, there is a Phalashruti described, that what is the importance of what will you achieve after hearing that. So that also is very purifying. Now, one thing which is very interesting is Krishna had said Yathechasi Tatha Kuru. After speaking the whole Gita, in 18.63, Krishna had said Yathechasi Tatha Kuru, that I have given this knowledge to you. Now you deliberate on this fully. You think what you want to do. Do whatever you want to do after deliberating on this fully. So that's what he had said. But we see that later he actually asks Arjuna. We'll come back to that. I'll connect back to the verse 63 later. But we were talking about the Phalashruti. So Krishna had said very nicely, he explained that for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And then he says at the end, he will also come back to me. So basically, the best thing is to share the knowledge of Gita. And then he says something more sweeter. He says, Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priya krittamaha. There is no one more dear to me than he who gives this knowledge to others, nor there will anyone else be more dear to me in the future also. So neither now nor in the future there will be more, anyone more dear to me from one who gives this knowledge to others. So we can understand how much Srila Prabhupada would be dear to Krishna. So actually this is the best thing that we could do, give the knowledge of Gita to others if we want to really please Krishna. And Krishna guarantees that even if we are not pure, if we are somehow or the other, we are engaged in giving this knowledge to others, then we will definitely come back to Krishna. He says, pure devotional service is guaranteed. That is the word that is used in the translation of Srila Prabhupada. So we know that we can either directly preach to people about the message of Gita. But we know Prabhupada had said that what would your preaching of 10 minutes or 15 minutes do? Said best is to give him a book. Give them a book. If they read a book, then they're sure to get purified with it. Prabhupada used to say that even if one sees the book or just touches the book, that itself is very pious. That also gives some benefit to that person, some sukriti. If not in this life, maybe in the next life, he will have the opportunity to read it and get transformed by the knowledge. So Prabhupada used to say that the books are like, he used to say that when a book is published, I feel as if an empire has been won. So how do we say that books are like empires? Empires actually flourish on the land. There are so many empires that flourish. But books are like the empires of thought. They are empires of philosophy. When the books are published, they are read by the people, and then their hearts are conquered by that knowledge. And by conquering the hearts of people, the empire flourishes. Like that, we see that so many devotees have come to they have become devotees just by reading the books. I was recently talking to a person, a devotee. Now he's in Mayapur. He is from Denmark. So he was explaining to me that he was a pakka atheist. He's a pure atheist. And his girlfriend was also an atheist. And her girlfriend was going somewhere, and some devotee gave him a book, SSR. And then that basically he explained it to her so nicely. She didn't want to take the book, but she took the book because he was very forceful. And then he brought the book home because she had paid for it. So he threw the book on the table, and then he just cursed that devotee, that I don't know who that person was. He just forced me to take that book. So this person, he picked up the book, and then he was very attracted. We know the cover of SSR is very attractive. Lord Vishnu is there with his 4 hands. So he started reading that book, and then he said that book changed my life. He said the next day I asked my girlfriend, who were those people? Where did you find them? And then he ran to that place the next day. And then he said the 5th day from that day, he moved into the temple, and then he became a devotee. So, and now he actually is preaching very nicely. He does very excellent online preaching. Now that's how I got connected with him. So I was very interested to know how did he come to Krishna consciousness. So books are like the empires of thought. They conquer the heart of the people. So we have this opportunity coming up now. 25th of December is the Gita Jayanti, the day when it's the advent of Gita. It's the day when Krishna had spoken the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And we are celebrating this as the World Gita Day. So this is an opportunity. Devotees can actually take Gitas and try to distribute it to their family, friends, or even acquaintances. It's a very good gift to give. Excuse me. So that is the Falashruti that Krishna had said about the Bhagavad Gita. And then not just that, he actually says further that, okay, if you cannot, not everybody can preach the message of the Gita, and some people are very hesitant to even do book distribution or give books to others. So actually he says that further, and one who just listens with faith without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets. Auspicious planets where the pious dwell. So acharyas have explained this differently. Some acharyas say that this refers to the top 3 planetary systems in the material world, which is the Brahmaloka, Tapaloka, and Janaloka. And from there, the person can further go back to the spiritual world. That is how acharyas explained. And some other acharyas explain that this actually Shubhan Lokan is the word that is used in the verse 72. It is 71 or 72? I think 71. So that refers to the Dhruvaloka. It is actually the Vaikuntha within the material world. So from there, that person can further go to the actual Vaikuntha. That's how some acharyas have explained that. Either way, if we just hear the message of the Gita, that itself is very potent. It's very, pious is, I would say, doesn't actually give the full potency of that, but still it is some a word that we can use to describe. And then further Krishna had said that actually if you are, if one who actually studies this, that person is doing he is doing my arti with his intelligence. Jnana Yajna is the word that comes, and we know that Jnana Yajna had come earlier also, Once it had come in the 4th chapter, and then again it had come in the 9th chapter. The 9th chapter, I think it's the 15th verse. Jnana yagyena chapyanne yajanto mam upasate ekatvena prathaktvena bahudha vishvato mukham. So Krishna had said, Jnana yagyena cha anye, through Jnana yagya or through other methods. Yajanto means they worship. Who? Mam upasate. They are worshipping me. So Prabhupada explains in the purport there that actually the Jnanis, they understand Krishna partially. They don't understand him fully. And we know Chakravarti Pad explains there in his purport to that verse, he explains that actually one who is envious to Krishna, he is actually not doing Jnana Yagya. A person who is non-envious to Krishna, who is a devotee, not just devotee, I mean, even if he is not a devotee, but if he is not envious to Krishna, some people think that, Krishna is under the control of the 3 modes of material nature, and Brahman is the highest. Krishna is, they say that when the Nirgun Nirakar Brahma, when it comes in contact of the material mode of goodness, then it takes a form of Krishna or Ram or Varaha or Narsimha, and then it comes down as an avatar. That is their understanding. So they think that the form of Krishna is fallible. It goes back and merges into Brahman. So there Chakravarti Pad explains that these people are envious of Krishna and they are actually not doing Jnana Yagya. So Prabhupada also explains in his purport that those who don't understand Krishna, their progress on the spiritual path is either partial or it is hallucinatory. So hallucinatory means they think that they are progressing, but actually they are not progressing. So that's how Srila Prabhupada explains there. So it's very important for us to be very clear about Krishna's position. Krishna is not just some random person who is just giving this knowledge of Gita to us. And then we see that in the 72nd verse, Krishna asks an important question to Arjuna. This is the last verse spoken by Krishna. He says, "O son of Pritha, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And did your ignorance now go away?" So these 2 questions he asked. So Acharya explained that the mood of Krishna is that, he is kind of a little forceful. Krishna is so eager that Arjuna makes the right decision. So I was talking about 18.63, where Krishna had said that Yathechasi tatha kuru, that do what you want to do after deliberate. But Acharya explained that there he had said that. But just as a father may sometimes say to his child that, okay, you do whatever you want to do, you don't listen to me, just do whatever you want to do. But internally the father thinks that he really wants that, his son makes the right decision. He chooses the right path. That's why Krishna is actually asking Arjuna here that, have you really heard this with an attentive mind? So Acharya explained that the mood of Krishna there is that, if you have not understood this, if you have not heard this attentively, I'm ready to speak the whole message to you again. Just tell me. So that is the mood of Krishna that Acharya explained. And in the response, anyone knows what does Arjuna say in response to that question? It's a very important response.
Is it Karishye Vachanam Tava?
Yeah. What does that mean?
I mean, I'll do as you say.
Right. That's very important. So Arjuna actually says, Nashto Moha. So my moha has gone away now. My illusion is gone away. And Smritir Labdha, my memory has come back. So Smriti word is very important here. Acharya has explained that this Smriti refers to the Smriti Shastras. So our intelligence is sharpened by reading the scriptures, and not just any scriptures, by Smriti Shastras. Smriti Shastras are the Puranas and the Itihasas. So actually, Bhagavad Gita is part of a Smriti Shastra. It comes in Bharata. So when we read the Smriti Shastras, then our intelligence gets sharpened. And actually, what had happened with Arjuna was that his Smriti Bhram had happened. His Smriti had vanquished at that time when he came into illusion. So he says that my Smriti has come back. And how he says, Tvat Prasadan. So by your mercy, Tvat Prasadan. This verse Prasad is coming for the 4th time here in the series of these verses. I think it had come in 56th verse, 58th verse, and in 62nd verse it had come, and now it is coming in the 7th. So this word Prasad will come repeatedly now. We'll see even Sanjay is going to say Prasad, mercy. So this concept of mercy will be there throughout now towards the end of the Gita. So Tvat Prasadan, by your mercy, Maya Achyuta, by your mercy on me, Achyuta. Achyuta means you are infallible. And those who take shelter of you, they will also not fall down, because you are infallible. Those who take shelter of you, they will also become infallible. And Sthitosmi, I am now very well situated. So earlier he was not well situated, but now, I am very well situated. And Gata Sandeha. So all my doubts have gone away. So this was a question of Krishna also. Have your doubts gone away? So Arjuna is answering that. Yes, my doubts have gone. Gata Sandeha. And then very important, as Mataji pointed out, Karishye Vachanam Tava, that I will do your will. So Arjuna doesn't just simply say that, okay, I'll go and fight the war. He says that whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do that. And it is interesting that in the previous few chapters, the reference to war has not come. And anyone remembers when was the last time the reference to war had come, where Krishna would have told Arjuna that get up and fight? When was the last time that had happened? I think as far as I remember, the last time Krishna had talked about fighting war.
I was going to say, wasn't that somewhere in the second chapter?
No, actually, it had come after that. No, in the second chapter, definitely it comes repeatedly. But then it again comes in the 5th chapter, then in the 7th chapter.
Okay.
So in the 10th chapter also, I think it comes. And then I think the last time it came was the reference to fighting the war comes in the 11th chapter. Tasmat tvam utishta yasho labhasva. Tasmat tvam utishta. Just get up and win glory. Yasho labhasva. Jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samriddhan. So, and then, conquer your enemies and enjoy this flourishing kingdom. So that was 11.33. Mai vaite nihataha paramam eva. Sorry, Mai vaite nihataha purvam eva. By my arrangement, all these warriors have already been killed. Nimitta matra bhavasavyasachi. So he says, just become an instrument in my hands. So that was the last time the reference of war had come. After that, practically the reference to war had been absent. So this also kinds of proves that Bhagavad Gita is not about violence, or it is not about silence. Bhagavad Gita is a book of transcendence. And how do we transcend? By doing the will of Krishna. If we don't do the will of Krishna, we are not going to transcend. So that is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna speaks this Bhagavad Gita, he is so eager that the living entity comes back to Krishna that he speaks the entire Bhagavad Gita over there. So that is actually the purpose. Now coming back to this verse, so that was verse 73. Now in the 74th verse, now Sanjay starts speaking. So Arjuna has stopped speaking now, and then later towards the last verse of this 18th chapter, Sanjay will describe that Arjuna has picked up his bow. So towards the end of the first chapter, I think 39th verse or 33rd verse, Arjuna had put down his bows and arrows. What was that? Was Visrajya sasaram chapam shoka samvigna manasaha. He was filled with grief and sorrow, and then sasaram chapam, he has put down his bow and arrow towards the end of the first chapter. But by the end of the 18th chapter, by the end of the Gita, Sanjay will describe that he has again picked up his bow and he's ready to fight now. So here in the 74th verse, it's an important verse where Sanjay starts speaking. He says, Ityaham vasudevasya parthasya cha mahatmanaha samvadam yama ashrausham adbhutam roma harshanam. So the roma harshanam, the hair standing on the end. Sanjay said, thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. So if you remember, the Bhagavad Gita started with hair standing on the end itself. So in 1.29, if you remember, that verse was spoken by Arjuna, where he had said, Vepathush cha sharire me roma harshas cha jayate. My whole body is trembling and my hair is standing on the end. And my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand. So there also the hairs were standing, and here also the hairs are standing. But there is a big difference. There, the hairs were standing, Arjuna's hair was standing because of fear and sorrow. He was very fearful and he was very, lamenting that I don't want to fight this war. I don't want to kill these people. And here in this verse, in 18.74, the hairs are standing due to spiritual ecstasy. Sanjay has just heard this wonderful message of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is talking to Arjuna, and his hairs are standing not because of material emotions but because of spiritual ecstasy. So Bhagavad Gita takes us from material emotions through detachment. So in between there is a very strong theme of detachment that comes to divine emotions. And not just divine emotions, actually Bhagavad Gita takes us to attachment to Krishna. So remember in the 7th chapter when the bhakti section of the Gita starts, the very first verse, Maya asakta manaha partha. So there Krishna gives the goal of bhakti. The goal of bhakti is to make our mind attached to Krishna. Right now our mind are attached to many different material things. So the goal of bhakti is to take our minds away from the material things and make it attached to Krishna. Maya asakta manaha partha yogam yunjanmadashraya samshayam samagramam yathagyastasya tatshunu. So he says, now hear from me that knowledge which will take away your mind from the material miseries, material griefs, and it will make your mind attached to me. That's not the perfect translation. I'm just trying to give the theme where that is like the kind of the theme that Krishna speaks over there in the 7th chapter. And then very important, the word Mahatma is used over here, and the word Mahatma is used for Arjuna. That's very surprising because we know Krishna is definitely Mahatma, but Sanjay is using the word Mahatma here for Arjuna. So we know that the definition of Mahatma is given by Krishna to Arjuna. Anyone remembers what was the definition of Mahatma? Who is a Mahatma as per the Gita, as per Krishna actually? It's a very sweet verse. Right. Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakritim 9.14. Bhajante ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. So he says that Mahatmanas tu mam partha. So they are always thinking of me and they are under the protection of divine energy. Daivim prakritim ashritaha. And what do? Bhajante ananya manaso. They always do my bhajan with ananya manas, by unflinching mind. Their minds do not flinch. And what do they know about me? Gyatva bhutadim, that they understand that I am the Adi, I am the beginning of all the living entities, bhutadim, and avyayam, I am imperishable. So actually we know Arjuna had taken the shelter of Krishna, and because he has taken the shelter of Krishna, now he is under the divine. And although Arjuna had been under the shelter of Krishna, we know throughout the Mahabharata, but here exclusively when Krishna had asked Arjuna to surrender, Arjuna had surrendered, and then he had said to Krishna that I will do your will. And just by that surrender, Arjuna had become Mahatma now. And further in 9.13 is Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. And then 9.14, that theme continues. The definition of Mahatma continues. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridvataha namaschantasya mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. So they always do my kirtan. Satatam kirtayanto mam. That's how the verse comes. So let me stop over here and see if there are any questions or comments or suggestions or improvements about what I said so far today. Okay, if there are no comments.
No, if nobody has any questions, I have one.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Okay. So you said that how do we know that we're not envious of Krishna in somewhere and that our progress is not hallucinatory, like you said? Because we still want some sense gratification from time to time. So that means we are envious of Krishna in some sense.
I can tell you how people are envious of Krishna. In my experience, I write sometimes on a platform about, I answer different questions. So sometimes people come and they debate. So I was debating with one person and he was a Pakka Mayavadi. And this person writes to me that he says that, why do you people always do Krishna, Krishna, Krishna? Why do you pay so much attention to Krishna? So I said, what do you mean? What do you think? Who do you think Krishna is? So he said that at best, Krishna is just an enlightened soul. And that is also an exaggeration. That are his words. So he says Krishna is just an enlightened soul like us. When we become enlightened, we will also become like Krishna, or we can actually become more intelligent. That's how he had put it. So even that he had put that it's also an exaggeration that Krishna is an enlightened soul. Now
Yeah,
this
that's a
is
typical impersonalist. Yeah,
exactly
view.
Krishna is saying here mattaha partaram na anyat. He says that brahmano hi pratishta aham sarvasya prabhava. So many times Krishna had said, he says bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvalok maheshwaram. Clearly he had said 15th chapter ends with that I am purushottama. I am beyond both the fallible and infallible. That's how the 15th chapter ends. But here these people, they are saying that Krishna is, just to say that Krishna is an enlightened soul, that is also an exaggeration. So that kind of mentality is, that can tell us that this person is envious. So we have to, Prabhupada writes in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, that we should at least theoretically accept, even if we don't have that realization, we should at least theoretically accept that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and then we should approach Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise it's just a useless labor. Reading Bhagavad Gita is just a useless labor. And Krishna also puts that condition that this message should not be shared with people who are envious of me. So, and Prabhupada actually talks about this, that if you are not accepting at least theoretically Krishna as the supreme person, then there is no point in reading Bhagavad Gita. We see that in the 4th chapter, Krishna also puts a condition. It's like a qualification of who is qualified to get the message of Gita. So he had said, what is that? Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. So because you are Bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hi etaduttamam. He says that this rahasya, this is a secret, and this is uttamam. Uttamam means tama means darkness or ignorance, and uttama means something that can take us beyond the darkness and ignorance. When he says this rahasya is uttamam, it can take you beyond darkness and ignorance. But I don't usually share it with anyone. I only share it. I'm sharing this with you because you are my devotee and you are a very dear friend. Bhakto si me sakha cheti. So there we have heard the qualification of who is qualified to receive the message of Gita. And we see that actually practically when Krishna goes as the peace messenger to the Kaurava assembly, and there when Duryodhana tries to arrest Krishna. So although Krishna shows his Virat Roop over there, but he doesn't speak Bhagavad Gita over there to Duryodhana that, you fool, what are you doing? Aham mattahas partaram na anyataham sarvasa. He doesn't say that. Because he understands that this person is a useless guy. He's not, even if I say the Bhagavad Gita, he's not going to accept it. So, and actually that's what happens. And even though Krishna shows his Virat Rupa, and then when Krishna was displaying the Virat Rupa, it is mentioned in the Mahabharata that there is a lot of contention going on. People were so zapped, what's happening? And then Dhritarashtra asks Sanjay, what's happening? So Sanjay tells him that Krishna is showing his Virat Rupa. So Dhritarashtra at that time, he prays to Krishna, please, I want to see this form. Please give me eyes just to see this form. And then at that time, Krishna gives the eyes to Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra also sees this form of Krishna, Virat Rupa. That was the only time that Dhritarashtra sees. Before that and after that, Dhritarashtra was not able to see actually. But still, after displaying the Virat Rupa, Duryodhan thinks that, he is just a magician. He basically writes off Krishna and saying that he is just a magician. And we see that even Dhritarashtra, he buys into that argument of Duryodhan. And then he gives into that argument.
So you're saying...
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry.
Mataji.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead if you had more to say.
At least we should be, we should not be outrightly envious of Krishna. No, there are people who may not know, they may not understand that Krishna is supreme, but they may not even feel that, okay, Krishna is just like us. There is nothing great about Krishna. Some people might think that, okay, there are many devtas and Krishna is one among them. That is also okay. And they are not envious in one sense. At least they accept that, okay, devtas are higher than us and Krishna is, at least one of the gods, if not. So that level is also okay. From there, the person can be transformed and he can accept that. And that was my understanding when I came.
So you're saying our sometimes falling into sense gratification is more like that our weakness of conditionings that's so deep rooted like the banyan tree.
He's just a god.
And it's
He's
not
the
necessarily
god.
envy of Krishna, you're saying.
Right. It's not envy. It's just that it's ignorance, you could say. Ignorance of the position of Krishna. But then there are people who are outright envious of Krishna. They try to intellectually prove that Krishna is just either he is a magician or he is just enlightened soul. That's all, really. Nothing great about Krishna. They are the envious people of Krishna.
But a devotee, should the devotee feel that when they fall into some sense gratification, we are really a little bit envious of Krishna?
If a devotee has fallen into sense gratification, then we should remember that what is that verse of Gita where Krishna says Mama Maya Duratyaya. He says that this is my Maya. So it is Krishna's Maya, Krishna's energy, and that is actually it is also Krishna. So one way or the other sorry.
Is that
Yeah.
Devi Isha Gunam?
Devi Hi Isha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya. So it is Krishna's Maya, and it is
It's hard
Krishna's
to overcome.
right. It is Krishna's Maya which is deluding us. So one way or the other, we should remember Krishna, and we should think that okay, because it is Krishna's Maya, I got deluded and I fell into sense gratification. I should take shelter of Krishna,
Shelter
and
of
then
the lotus feet. Yeah.
right, and then if I take shelter, I should be able to. I will not fall into Maya again. That's how devotees should think. But those who are not devotees, they have a long way to go to understand that.
Yeah. Thank you. I think you've answered my question. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
I had heard in a class long time back, that is why Vyasadeva put Sri Bhagavan Vacha at every place where Krishna is talking. He didn't write Sri Krishna Vacha. Every other place, whoever is talking, it's their name. Sanjay Vacha, Dhritarashtra Vacha, Arjuna Vacha, whoever is talking. But whenever Krishna is speaking, he put Sri Bhagavan Vacha. He never said Krishna Vacha even once. And that is because Vyasadeva wanted to establish Krishna's position that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if anybody who reads the Bhagavad Gita, it's clear that Krishna is what Krishna's position is. Whether they accept it or not is a different story. I mean, whoever was answering your platform questions and arguing that Krishna is not so special, then Vyasadeva would not have put Sri Bhagavan Vacha. He would have just put Sri Krishna Vacha. He wanted to make Krishna's position clear.
These people, they are determinedly, they are determined to be hostile to Krishna. They have determined that I want to be hostile. So it's very difficult to convince them one way or the other. So they think that jnana is the only, unless you get jnana, you won't be able to transcend, but they don't understand the concept of mercy. So they don't understand the concept of mercy so much. We see also in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a nice pastime where when what is that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when he was defeated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in argument, they have a debate, right? So after getting defeated, the next morning Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to his house, and then actually Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was still in the hangover about what happened last night. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offers him some prasad. He just woke up actually, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, and then he just goes there, and then he is surprised to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So like in the morning, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offers him prasad over there. So he takes the prasad and he immediately eats the prasad. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "What is this, Sarvabhauma? You just woke up. You have not taken your bath. You have not done your vandan, what is that? Not Sandhya vandan, the morning vandan, whatever we call it. And then you accepted this prasad and you ate it." So at that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he quotes a verse from one of the Puranas, "Prapti matrena bhoktavyam." Honor the prasadam as soon as you receive it. Prapti matrena bhoktavyam. And then when he says that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes very happy, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt as if the purpose of his descending to the material world had been fulfilled. So we may think that, what is so great about it. But what had happened was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a Jnani earlier, and Jnanis stick to the rituals, to the, the letter of the law so much. They don't have the concept of mercy so much. But because of the debate that had happened with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had accepted the concept of mercy. That through mercy I can be transformed. Through mercy can take me beyond. So that he had accepted because of his debate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was happy with that. So their idea is that by strictly following the letter of the scriptures, only then we can, first we have to understand it, and then we have to follow whatever the scriptures say and they don't care so much about Krishna and God and the mercy of God. And that's what Krishna also explained in the 12th chapter, the difference between the Gyanis and the Bhaktas. So there he says that, Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat, to the devotees, I personally come and deliver them from the ocean of birth and death. But for the Gyanis, he say that for them, it's very difficult. Dukkha klesha bhayata, as something like that he says. Two negative words he uses over there. That their path is full of dukkha and klesha, misery and, sorrow. So it's very difficult for them to go beyond.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
So for this particular topic, I think if we see in ISKCON that we honor prasadam with some mantras. For example, Mahaprasade Govinde. So that is not a ritual, right, Prabhuji? That is more like we offer and we pay respect, and then we partake prasadam. I think that is something that we follow, correct? So that doesn't fall into rituals. Is that understanding correct?
Yeah, it's not exactly a ritual. Mahaprasade Govinde Nam Brahmane Vaishnave, that actually is a part of, that comes in the Mahabharata. So there the idea is, we don't have faith in three things. Mahaprasade Govinde, Nam Brahmane is the holy name, and Vaishnaves, and in the Vaishnavas. But if we have faith in these three things, that can actually transform us. That is the idea. So before eating the food, we are remembering that, okay, if we have faith in Mahaprasad, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, we don't actually think when we are eating food, although we call it prasad, but internally, at least I don't think it as prasad. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says that prasad is like the taste of the lips of Krishna. So that is his consciousness when he is accepting prasad or honoring prasad. But I don't feel the taste of lips of Krishna when I am honoring prasad. So at least at an intellectual level, to remind us that, okay, this is not an ordinary food. This is Mahaprasade Govinda. This is the Mahaprasad of Govinda. That reminds us that if we do these three things, Mahaprasad and Nam Brahmane, the holy name, and the association of the Vaishnavas, that can actually transform me. So that's the idea over there. So I don't think that's a ritual as such, Prabhuji. That's my understanding.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, last time for Ankur Prabhu's class, I said Shri Chaitanya Karanamrita, but it's actually Shri Krishna Karanamrita,
Yeah.
Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that was
Shri
a slip
Krishna
of the
Karanamrita,
tongue.
right.
Afterwards, I
thought
thought, what did I say, by Leela Sukha, Vilvamangal. The Shri Krishna Karanamrita, not Shri Chaitanya Karanamrita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the one carrying it, but the title of the book is Shri Krishna Karanamrita, and Krishna is to personally come to listen to those compositions, that's what. And he's called Leela Sukha, he's Bilva Mangala Thakur is also called Leela Sukha Bilva Mangal Thakur. So afterwards, I thought I made a slip of the tongue. I said the wrong thing, and nobody corrected me. That's
Who can correct a Brahmin, Mataji?
you.
No, Mataji.
You should. No, but what was I saying? No, when you do offering, at least in the Vaishnava tradition, I don't know what the other traditions are doing, the Shaivas and all that. No matter which demigod you're worshipping, you're saying Krishna Arpana. You give the bhoga only to Krishna. So then, like even if you're doing Ganesh Puja or something, as I recall, they always the offering is always made to Krishna.
Very
at least in the tradition that Vaishnavas, I don't know what the Shaivites and the other people are doing. But I think even for Devis, as far as I know, anything that I've attended, you always make the offering to Krishna. So.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions? Okay, I don't think I'll be able to start another verse because it has a long purport. So I'll have to leave it to Pari Prabhu. And I believe Pyari Prabhu will be able to complete it tomorrow, the whole 18th chapter. And it is in one way good to have Pyari Prabhu complete the Gita Yagya that we have been doing. He's the perfect Brahmin. He's the most.
So where are we in the Gita thing, Prabhu?
So today we did the 74th verse. The only four verses.
No. I'm talking about our the distribution, Gita distribution. You were saying that.
Yes, Mataji, I haven't had a chance today to recompile everything, but I think about 70%.
Promised to do 1,000 books, right?
Right. So we are about 70% there, I would guess. I would think, as far as what I have been noticing, the trend. So we still have 30%.
So what is the deadline? When do you have to give your final order?
So we are going to make a order now, either today or tomorrow. Not today. Today is gone anyway. Tomorrow, most likely, we are going to make an order for the books, Mataji.
So even if we don't get the thing, we are still going to order 1,000. Is that what you said?
Yeah, one way or the other, we should be able to. I mean, at least I'm hoping that we should be able to do it one way or the other.
Okay. Just let me know your count. So.
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
Okay.
I will do the final compilation tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't think I'm going to start another verse, but I just want to mention one thing. In the next verse, Vyasadeva basically gives credit to his spiritual master. He says, by the mercy of Vyas, I have heard this most confidential talk. So Krishna had been telling Arjuna that this is the most confidential, this is the most confidential. And later, Sanjay will say, then the next verse, that by the mercy of my spiritual master Vyasa, I have been able to hear this most confidential knowledge. And the purport also, Prabhupada also talks about the concept of mercy of the spiritual master. So we see that even in the life of Srila Prabhupada, he has been crediting so although he has done such a commendable, such a tremendous job that nobody in the past have done this kind of, it's like a magic in one sense, what Srila Prabhupada had done. But still, he always gives the credit to his spiritual master. And in fact, not just spiritual master, to the previous acharyas also. We see in the introduction to Nectar of Instruction, he says that this Krishna consciousness movement is being conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. So he credits Rupa Goswami over there. And for all practical purposes, we know that there would have been no Krishna consciousness movement, at least in the West, if Srila Prabhupada wouldn't have been there. But still, Srila Prabhupada, his connectedness with his acharyas, with the previous parampara is so much, and he's so humble, his humility is so much that he is giving the credit to Rupa Goswami over there. So there is this Professor Stealth Judah. He was the professor of religion, I believe, in the University of Chicago, if I'm not wrong. He had written a book. I think I have the book. The name of the book is The Hare Krishna and the Counterculture. So there he tells the story of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So he says that, sometimes the facts are stranger than fantasies. So he says that, this person, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, he is an utter stranger. And then he comes to this alien land where nobody practically knows him. He has never been to this land. And then he comes here and he tells the people that you leave everything and you follow me. And all these people, they actually leave everything and they start following Srila Prabhupada. And then he says, where in the history of the world has this happened before? And he invokes Jesus Christ over there. And then he said that the only parallel that comes close to this is the parallel is Jesus Christ. But if we look at it closely, Jesus Christ was a young man and Srila Prabhupada was a very old man, 70 years plus. And Jesus was preaching in a land where he has lived, where everybody knows him. Whereas Srila Prabhupada had come to a completely alien land. And Jesus Christ is giving a philosophy which is more or less known to people, but Prabhupada is teaching a philosophy that is complete alien. Nobody has even heard about Krishna. What to speak about, surrendering to Krishna. But still he comes over there and he tells this, somebody needs to go on mute. So he comes and then he gives this, he tells the people to follow, and then people actually starts following him. And we see that actually practically in just 10 years, the way Krishna consciousness movement has spread all over the world, there are practically no parallels. Even the Christianity, it started spreading several hundred years after Jesus Christ has departed. And it took so many years to actually for the Christianity to spread. Islam had spread quite rapidly, but still Islam also took a lot of time to spread. Islam is sometimes said it is the fastest growing religion even now, but the way it spread. But Krishna consciousness, at least in the first 10 years when Srila Prabhupada was there, the way it spread, there is actually practically no parallel over there. Now, after that, after the first 10 years, it slowed down a little bit, but still it is expanding at a very rapid speed. So this concept of mercy, we have to think that we have to know that, it is because of Srila Prabhupada that the message of the Gita has become at least accessible to me. I have tried to read Bhagavad Gita earlier, but I was never successful. But Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is, not just informative, it is transformative. It has conquered the hearts of many people. So although many acharyas have commented on the Bhagavad Gita, but it is Srila Prabhupada who had made the message of Gita accessible not just to Indians, but also to people all over the world. And because of him, people are able to, read the message of Gita. And we know that message of Gita is meant to transform us. When Arjuna says Karishye Vachanam Tava to Krishna, he doesn't say to Krishna after the lecture is over, he doesn't say, Krishna, very nice lecture. He says that Krishna, I'll do your will. So generally what at least I do is even if I hear a very good class, we tell to the speaker, very nice class, very good, very good. But then after 2 days, 3 days, I forget about it, whatever that person had spoken. I have no clue what that person had spoken. So, so that is not how we should approach these scriptures. Sorry, Mata, you were saying something?
This time I'm not going to say very good lecture. I'm going to say I'm going to follow what you said.
Exactly. That's how, when we hear from, even from the sannyasis, the idea is that we want to take their desire because they are worshipping Krishna so nicely. They are serving Krishna so nicely. We hear from them so that they can transfer their desire to us. Somehow Srila Prabhupada was able to do that. He was able to transfer that desire to people. And so many people had taken up Krishna consciousness so seriously. I think there is definitely a part that Paramatma also plays over there.
But quick question, why is Islam spreading so quickly, so profusely also? Is it because of Kali Yuga? I could never understand that.
Initially, we know that Islam spread on the sword, by the sword, they basically gave people this, either you convert or die.
Yeah, and so did Christianity to some degree. So did Christianity,
yeah. So Christianity also. But Prabhupada didn't use sword. He used love and care and, whatnot to give this Krishna consciousness to people. He was not at all pushy. So there's a lot of difference between the way...
They say the pen is mightier than the sword. Srila Prabhupada did it with his pen, with his books.
Even now, I know, like I was speaking to this Prabhu, I was talking about this Prabhuji in Mayapur. So he was telling me that many people from Middle East, they come to Mayapur and they are actually devotees, but they can't reveal that they are devotees in their country in the Middle East because otherwise they will get killed. So they are not allowed to change their religion. They are considered as a deserter, or there's a name for it, kafir or something. So they basically kill those people if they convert to some other religion. So all other religions we know that in Middle East countries are banned. So they are secretly, following Krishna consciousness in the Middle East. Many people come to India and Mayapur, and they basically, when they are in Mayapur, they will change their looks. In the Arab countries, they will wear that, all that stuff. We know what that is. But they can't reveal to people that they follow some different religion.
Yeah, in Dubai, I heard that restaurants cannot be named Ram and Krishna, at least the well-known names.
Yeah.
So I heard they secretly name it like Radha and things like that, which they don't know is the name of God so much.
So there it is more of a force and, that kind of a thing, which is not there in other countries. Even in Pakistan, we see that there's so much, even in Bangladesh, we know so many times our ISKCON temple has been attacked there in Bangladesh. Pakistan also, in the Hindu community is so much, they are harassed over there. Yeah, persecuted and harassed in so many ways.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, I just like to add a couple of things about why Islam is still spreading.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu, please.
Yeah, one of the things, you will find Islam is spreading quickly among the prisoners because it's all about hate, and those prisoners are like, it invokes their hateism. That's another thing. And then, as you rightly mentioned, I'm from Bangladesh, so I know how, there are a lot of force, there are a lot of temptation about them, money, social safety, and then there are many other things. But one other thing I would like to mention is important. They go by rumor. If you see in social media, they will see, okay, there is tsunami or hurricane, everything was damaged, demolished. However, the mosque is still there, and then the way I was amazed, because I know a lot of people in Bangladesh, I know a lot of people in, Muslims in America, and they are from different nationality, but they talk about the same rumor. It's like, it's amazing. Like, it's a simple rumor. If you use your common sense, you will see like, oh, come on, you don't have to be smart to know that this is a rumor. But the person can be like in a PhD in America, he still talks about the same rumor. So the way they tell everybody, if 100 people tells the lies, it becomes truth. That's the philosophy. But here, again, is a question about ISKCON actually. We have some miracle, we try to hide it, and like I think a couple of years ago in Mayapur, when Jai Pataka Swami was doing kirtan, and then their tears are coming out of Panchatattva's eyes, and I was like really angry when ISKCON, GBC was saying, no, well, the critics are saying it can be condensation. What I don't understand, even Chaitanya Prabhu was explaining that way. I guess he was following GBC. I didn't make sense, because he was saying it's not intelligent to believe that it's a miracle. Why it wouldn't be intelligent? Because look at this. If the condensation would happen, we know Mayapur is a very humid place, and it's not that a lot of people gathered just in that day. A lot of people gathers every day. Condensation never happened any other day. Now, point number one. Point number two, if condensation happened, why would it happen only under the ice? Why wouldn't it happen there other exposed part of the deities, their hand, forehead? It only happened, the water can be seen only below their eyes. So what I'm saying is, in contrary to Islam, when they try to promote the rumors, we try to hide our what is called, I'm sorry if you know what I mean.
Miracles.
Miraculous activities. I don't know why. That's another thing.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for that comment. And that's a bigger debate about that. I know what issue that you're talking about, but I think the thing that GBC was saying, or Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was saying, was that our devotion should not be dependent only on miracles. That if miracles happen, then we know that, okay, my path is the right path. Because Prabhupada as such didn't show any magic tricks. He just transformed he gave logic to the people, and and then he gave the experience of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The name of the God was so potent that people were able to transform internally. So the point there was more that our devotion should not be dependent on these magics and these kind of things.
The miracles and so many miracles have been attributed to the Narsingha deity, to Jagannath deity. Even Sudevi Priya spoke so many miracles of Jagannath, in the recent lecture. And so many miracles have been attributed to the Narasimha deity in Mayapur. So there are books written on it, Omio, Prabhu, but we don't want to hype it, like Ganapati Govind said,
I understand, Mataji, but if you see that, you have to be competitive, right?
We don't need to be
Prabhupada says that he converted hippies to happies. That itself is a miracle. Who can do that?
Right.
Yeah, but we are not Prabhupada, right?
But this is movement. He's Krishna's representative. So if he is so powerful, imagine Krishna is that much more powerful.
I understand, but still I can't accept. Why would he hide it? But give us an explanation. Why there are tears?
Because we are not cheap organization, Prabhu. We don't
No,
attract
but okay, but you can give me the explanation. Why there are tears? Why you are? Then don't say anything. Keep your mouth, closed. Why you say that, like, okay, it can be the condensation? That's where, like, rascals are saying, why did you encourage them? Actually, matter of fact, I have great respect for Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu. He was promoting those. He was saying, like, those are intelligent devotees. He will say, if you believe that this is miracle, intelligent people will leave the movement. Why this? Give me a reason. Is condensation? I mean, it can be condensation, but why?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Anyway, Prabhu,
I
it's
got emotional. Sorry.
yeah. There are two groups of devotees. One say that it is condensation. One say that it's a miracle. Either way, so you are free to choose which party you want to be in. So, yeah, there is definitely an explanation to it. But yeah, your point is also valid in one way. That.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, if the class is over, like
Yeah,
before,
it's over.
if you quickly talk about that Tuesday donation. If anyone doesn't know, they can at least know. Quickly.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point, Prabhu. So tomorrow it's going to be Giving Tuesday, and Facebook is going to give a match. So up to the first $2 million, they're going to give 100% match, and the next 5 million, they're going to give a 10% match. So it's a good time to donate to the temple if you're planning to make any donations. There is a possibility we might get a match, but the key is that we have to make that transaction exactly at 8 a.m. So it has to be 8. Otherwise, within the first 2 or 4 seconds, the match is over. So if people are interested, devotees
So
are
here's your
interested.
chance to give $1 million, Ganpati Govind.
Yeah, I know, Mataji. But the problem is per person there is a limit of $5,000, so I can't give beyond 5. I mean, you can still give, but the match will be only for the first $5,000 per person, and
I
per
see,
organization it's 100K. So an organization can only get up to 100K of match.
I heard ISV is doing 100K. Pyari Prabhu told me.
Yeah, they are trying to.
What trick they're submitting? That is the only trick. 2 seconds they're able to submit.
Yes, Prabhu. That's the trick, basically. Trick in the
Okay.
sense that is in the first 2 or 4 seconds the match is over. So you have to sit in the front of match as soon as the clock hits 8. You have to hit on the donate button there. So on Facebook.
Good luck to you.
Yeah. All right. So happy donating tomorrow, the Giving Tuesday.
Hey, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vancha.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Vancha kalpatarabhyascha.
Kripa
Vasindhya cha
Patitana
patitanam
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Namaha. Koti Vaishnavanda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai.
Hare Krishna. We can read today is a new verse, 9:14. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridavratah. Okay, one more time I'll read. 1 second. Okay. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridavratah. Namasyantasya mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridavratah. Namasyantasya mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridavratah. Namasyantasya mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridavratah. Namasyantasya mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridavratah. Namasyantasya mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridavratah. Namasyantasya mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Hare Krishna. Jairam Prabhu, would you like to recite next?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Krishna.
Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavvrita namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavvrita namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavvrita namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatayantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Always chanting my glories and endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
Hare Krishna. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha नमस्यन्तश्च मां भक्त्या नित्ययुक्ता उपासते. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Ragasindhu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha manasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. You can continue, Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Rasaj Prabhu.
Yeah, just wanted to tell that that Facebook Live, I didn't stop. Can you stop that?
Oh, okay. Sure, Prabhuji.
There's the, if you click there, end will be there, come.
Okay. Can I stop it like in next 2-3 minutes? Otherwise, I don't know. Does it also close this current?
No. If you see in the top right, there is Facebook Live. If you right click or something, it will say end of Facebook Live. Just do the end.